Ahoy, hoy, whiskey friends, far and wide. We are live. What's up, y'all? Happy Tasty Tuesday. It's rush hour, happy hour, whatever you want to call it. Hopping on live today, uncorking a bottle for you all. And going to check in, see how everybody's doing. What's good, everyone? Hope you all had a nice weekend here in the States. I am, of course, Eric, your humble malt muser, beaming the Whiskey Tube signal from the second city, my home base, Chicago, Illinois, USA. What's happening, y'all? Warming things up with, well, just a little bit of something from the last live stream we did a week or two back, the Campbelltown Lock. Or no, it wasn't on a live stream. It was the last review. Fantastic stuff. Anyways, so what we are going to do today is I'm going to uncork a bottle that I've been sitting on for a little bit of time now that I'm really interested in, and I'm hoping this is going to deliver. And I'd love to hear in the chat if any of y'all have had this before. This is Glenturret, 12 years old, Highland Scotch single malt whiskey. So we'll get into that in a second. But first, as always, as we used to do, as we still do, as we will always do, let's say hi to the new folks who are ponied up here in the virtual bar, hanging out here on an early afternoon Tuesday stream. What's good? First in the door, Mr. G. Gerbic, down there in Jupiter, Florida. Hey, whiskey folks. How are you, man? Nice to see you, sir. There's Daniel, the man with the wrench, holding it down somewhere in East Tennessee, or I'm sorry, Eastern Texas. Happy early Tasty Tuesday. I'm a huge fan of Indie Glenturret. This should be an interesting one. Yes. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Looks like we got some folks having something already. Macallan Edition 5. Wow, I haven't had that one in a while. How are you enjoying that, sir? Greg, over there in Paris. What's up, buddy? Cheers from Paris on a beautiful sunny day. All right, man. Great to hear it. Whiskey Uncentered, what's up? Where's there? Yeah. The time came. I went 3 years without cutting it since the beginning of COVID, and finally just couldn't do another summer of it, so gave it a chop, but hair grows back, so we'll see what happens. I'm sure it won't be too long. Only short hair back. Indeed. And Winston the Whiskey Cat is making his appearance. What's up, Winston? He has not got a haircut, although I'm sure he'd love one, as the weather's getting warm here in Chicago. Yeah, summer cut. There you go. Dram dude, what's up, buddy? How are you, man, out there in California? What is good, man? Low drinks. Coates, how you doing, man? Nice to see you. All right, man. Jazz Real Hip Hop. How are you, buddy? Good to catch you on live. 6 hours without power. Lost everything. Holy crap, man. Where are you at? Was it weather related? Man, I hope everything's all right. Damn, that's terrifying, man. I hope everything's okay. Hope you and yours are safe. Have a bottle of this 2021. Yeah, I think that's what this one is. The second release of this? I don't know. We're going to get into all that in a hot second. Ontario's in the house. Mr. White. How you doing, Peter? From the worst restaurant in the U.S. I did send you a Glenturret sample. Maybe we could do that. Yeah. Yeah, this is actually true. I should count my lucky stars. Barbecue. I have never tried Glenturret. Yeah, I can't recall the last time I have either. Arizona. Beaming the signal from the desert. It's our boy Leo. What's up, Leo? Are you out in the Sun Valley, man? Good to see you, man. We got 14 folks. And what's going on, y'all? Good stuff. All right. So let's talk about this. So first of all, Glenturret. It's a Highland distillery that honestly, I think up until probably 2021, you really only found in independent bottlings. I couldn't find a ton of information. I'm sure one of our good friends in the chat probably knows a bit more about them even than I do. But here's what they had to say. So they oh shit, where did that go? Glenturret. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they were used in some blending of other whiskeys for a while, like many Scotch malt distillers do. I might be wrong about this, but unclear. They're not new on the block. Let's just put it this way. They claim to be the oldest working distillery, so they've been doing this stuff for quite some time. And they started putting out this line of whiskeys. I think they have a 10, a 12, a triple wood. There might be a couple others out now. They're kind of going for that elegant presentation. So this is the box. This is their 12-year-old. This is around, give or take, I think, $60, maybe a little bit more, maybe less. And it does look like they're doing this in vintage batches every year. So this is when I got here in the States. I think it was about $60. Gorgeous bottle. Check out this bottle. That is beautiful. This is the 2021 release. It is 46% ABV. And while it unfortunately doesn't say more on the bottle itself, I have some great news, y'all. Right here on the back of the box, it says natural color, non-chill filtered. So we are checking all the boxes with this one. 46% non-chill natural. That is a natural color, and my God, how gorgeous does that look? I am really excited to check this out, mostly because of the presentation. I'll be real with you. It is getting increasingly harder and harder to find whiskeys of integrity at a decent price. And I think we can say integrity for this. I'm not going to go too deep on that, but you know, nice big fat cork. The internet says American and European oak, so I'm assuming this is a bourbon sherry situation. I can't get over how much I like this bottle. It's kind of almost like Art Deco. It's really nice. We'll see if this one is going to deserve a spot on the bar as a permanent one. I'm really looking forward to it. But anyways, so let me just give you a little bit of info on Glenturret if I can find it, which let's see. Yeah, not a whole lot of information I could find. It is definitely like one of those unheralded distilleries like Annock, and there's plenty of them that you just don't hear much about. And these releases that they've been putting out, like I said, they have a non-age statement triple wood. I think they have this 12. I think they have a 10 as well, and they may even have something older. I heard maybe a 15 cask strength. I don't know. But what caught my eye was the 46% non-chill natural and the 12-year-old age statement, which, again, good luck finding many whiskeys that are checking all those boxes. So let me just let this rest for a couple minutes here, and then we'll get into it. Mike Myers in the house. What's up, Mike? How are you, man? Been a minute. Nice to see you. I'm a bit nostalgic for early 2000s Glenturret 10. Okay, so they were around for a while. They were purchased by Laphroaig Group, hence the fancy packaging. Okay, there you go. See, y'all know what's up. Online overseas. Yeah, that's probably the most likely place to find it easily. The Heart of Famous Grouse. Okay, that's right. I have a feeling it was a blend. Then the recent takeover, they got rid of it. Interesting. Okay. That's what I thought. It was something like that, right? I knew they were in a blend of some kind. I just didn't know which one. And so thank you for popping that out, y'all. They have a 10 and a 7-year-old peated even. Okay. So this is a Highland malt, if that matters to you. Let me just tell you a little bit more about what it says here. Scotland's oldest working distillery, Glenturret, has extraordinary provenance. And Robert Burns has been there, proudly at the heart of Scotch whiskey country. Tribute to the long distinctive history. Our distinctive spirit is fully crafted, blah, 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 blah. Say unwavering. Okay, so just, oh yeah. In partners with the artistry of the guys that Dram did mention. Okay. So they're in the game. They're releasing what look to be core range whiskeys. We're going to get into the 12 right now. There you go. Greg knows what's up. There you go. Oldest operating distillery. They say, yeah, oldest working distillery. There you go. Doesn't give a year, though. Maybe it does say one Where else on here? Now I'm kind of curious. 1763. Oh yeah, it's all up in their label. There you go. Okay. So I think we're looking at a pretty nice looking dram. Check this out. Look at that nice haze in it, man. That is not a fake color, and you can just tell. Okay, so I'm guessing this is ex-bourbon ex-sherry. Let's dive in. Glenturret 12. This is the 2021 release. I think they probably, I don't know if they change up the maturations at all, like in terms of ratio when they put out new releases or whatever. But this is the 2021, which I think was the second one that they released of this new line. So let's check it out. On the nose. Ooh. Oh, wow. Okay. Really nice sherry on this. It's not too sweet and it's not too dark. It's really kind of like medium range in terms of it's bringing a gingery spice note. You know, the nose on this immediately reminds me of an older Macallan. It's got that Macallan kind of fusion of the sherry and spice that's just really nicely balanced. Macallan noses are usually fantastic, and this Glenturret is reminding me of that. Oh, it smells like it was aged in nice casks. It's not overpowering in any way. Mostly sherry dominant here. Again, this nice kind of gingery, maybe a little hint of like clove kind of spice. It's not too intense, but it smells like it's a pretty full-bodied whiskey. It's getting a little sweeter now. But this is mostly, sherry and spice, and it's really, really delivering on this. I'm really impressed with this nose. It's a relaxed nose, a little nutty. Wow. Maybe a bit of leather. This reminds me of an old Macallan. And I don't mean an old Macallan in age-wise. I mean like a Macallan 12 you got 15 years ago, maybe. Wow, that's really nice. Okay, I'm in love with the nose on this. Again, it's not too complex. It's got this almost cookie-like ginger note. The dried fruit, a little bit of the sweetness of the kind of juicier red fruit, bit of the oak, bit of spice. Hell yeah. All right, let's give it a taste, y'all. Solange, happy Tasty Tuesday. Glenturret, 12 years old, 2021 release. Here we go. Oh, wow. This is nice. Let me do one more sip. There's a lot going on here. Okay. Dry sherry forward. Pretty nice viscosity. It's almost creamy. As it develops, though, you get more of this nuttiness, and then you get a bit of this spice bite, and it comes in the form of like cinnamon, like hot cinnamon. Not quite as sweet as the candy, but just like kind of a peppery cinnamon note. You're getting a little tang of like almost lemon citrus, almost a little too much if you ask me. Medium long finish, oaky, leathery, again, driven by the sherry notes. And again, they're in this medium balance, slightly dry fruit, slightly ripe fruit, all in that kind of red fruit category. Maybe a hint of apple in this, a little hint of chocolate. Medium finish. The finish is not all that interesting. We'll see what water does. So far, the nose is the winning element of this whiskey for sure. It's a little bit, it kind of drops off a bit as you go along, but let's do another neat sip. That nose is fantastic. This is the type of sherried Scotch nose that I wish all of them had. Oh, it's just nearly perfect. Medium viscosity, creamy transitions into oily. There's that little kind of sour lemon bite. I don't love the citrus note in this. It just doesn't feel, it feels kind of out of place. More chocolate on the finish, cherry, kind of dried cherry, dry fruit, Christmas spice a bit, but that like nice dense sherry note goes all the way through. This is not bad at all. The citric note for me is a bit too strong, and it's kind of distracting me from everything else. It really comes in at the back of the finish, or the back of the palate, and I'm guessing this is just partially due to age and cask. I mean, you're going to get this, you know, with bourbon casks, you're going to get this with some sherry casks. Let's put some water on this. It's 46%. I'm going to do about 3 drops here just to see. Maybe we'll do 4, actually. I really want to see if we can tease this out a little bit. Again, let me know in the chat if you've had this before. Okay. That nose is killer. Hey, Winston. You want to try smelling this? No, he's tired. More orange now, but the nose is relatively the same. Great nose. 5 out of 5 nose. Better. More of the dark notes come in through. The chocolate's more evident on the palate. Still creamy, still rich, but that transitions. Again, this is a neck pour, so maybe it'll chill out a bit. The water has brought that lemon note down, which is really what I was. Again, it's just generic citrus pithy bite that it was just throwing me off. It's brought that down a bit. Much smoother transition, much more chocolatey, almond. Again, nice sherry. Sherry forward is always. Finishes even a little bit longer, almost like a malted milk kind of thing going on. This is a good whiskey. Water is doing this a favor for sure. Now, how this is going to change as it oxidizes, I'm optimistic about. Here is one more look at this bottle. Again, gorgeous presentation. So where does this fit in? Yeah, nose is near perfect. Water makes the palate and finish better. It's not the most complex. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's more complex than you would expect for this 12-year-old, but it's just the sherry is really dominant right now. And I'm curious where this is going to go as oxygen works on it. But I can tell you right now, at the like $60, $65 price, you could do worse. Now, there are some whiskeys I think I would probably purchase over this at that price. I'm thinking Ben Romick 15. Now, of course, that's going to have a bit of peat and a bit of that kind of funky note, but that aside, it's similar in style. I'm not disappointed. And again, it's presenting itself in a way that you just wish more and more whiskey was doing. I mean, it's not, they're not doing this because, I'm sure they're doing this because they're responding to what is hopefully the voices of more whiskey folks being heard, that they're going to put things out at 46% and they're not going to chill filter it, and it's going to be a natural color. I mean, why would you put fake color in this, right? Look at that. It's freaking gorgeous. As it stands, solid whiskey, Glenturret 12. It's not quite a world beater, but I'm not disappointed. I mean, this is like a 3.5 whiskey for me. I think this is right in there. I think this has upside too. I could definitely see this getting better as it goes. It's definitely kind of an older style. Now, the malts that I would compare this to, again, the nose, very Macallan-like, but it's not. It's got more body to it. It's almost got a bit of a kind of Glen Scotia type earthiness, type, just that. I don't know how the word I want to use is. It's that robustness. It's got style, and it's not just another generic whiskey. Now, the sherry is what's the star of the show here for sure. But I really think like this is a whiskey that, with time, could turn out to be really well. If there's one thing I would critique, again, besides just for me personally, just getting a little too much of that lemon, pithy citrus note. I don't think that this is full sherry, but I almost feel like it's a little too much. I feel like they could pull back a bit on it, and let the malt show a little bit more. Right now, this is very cask driven. Not the worst thing in the world. And at the price, I mean, I really think you could do a lot worse. I think I'll sit comfortably in that 3.5 range. This is an above average whiskey. And that nose is just killer. All right. I'm going to have a second dram. This is that good. I'm going to definitely have a second dram here. Oh, man. I don't think this is going to be my next favorite distillery, but I'm definitely intrigued enough by this to want to try some of their other stuff. And again, not the easiest thing to find here in the States, but here in Chicago, I've seen it. So if some of you live close to major cities that get decent liquor, you might be able to find it. So yeah, 3.5 Glenturret 12. Worth it. All right, let me catch up here on the chat. We got 17 folks, and what is good, y'all? Hopefully it doesn't smell like an octave. We're going to be getting into that next, I think. K&L has the 7, 10, and 12 in stock for California residents. There you go. The problem with the new range for me here is price and availability. Outside a few shops, you can't find a range anywhere. Oh, wow. It's not the easiest thing to find over there in Paris. Detroit is in the house. What's up, Detroit Motor City? Brad's here. Evening. I hope you're doing well. Sipping on the Ardbeg. What do you think? Is this the 2022? No, this is the 2021. So I think this is the second Glenturret release of this core range. I think the first one was the 2020, if I'm not mistaken. $31 here. The Glenturret is? Or are you talking about the Ardbeg? Either way, great price. Pleated Glenturret is one of my favorite malt profiles in the world. That's good to know. MC, how you doing? Slanch. Fumare had an interesting situation. It's a little distracting, but I like it. Jason Coates. Comparison to Macallan's is something I've heard. Oh, okay. Well, I'm not totally talking on my ass then. The first thing I thought, I was like, wow, that nose is just such like a Macallan. Masri, what's up? How you doing? Glad I hopped on a little bit early. Tribe Called Quest. That was my first concert I ever saw. Tribe Called Quest opening for Beastie Boys in Milwaukee. $2020 was the first, this Coates. Yeah, I think you're right. Hey, look, y'all. I mean, this is. I hope they make this. Let's just. What's the price on the Chicago? I think this one was $65. It was a little price plus tax. It was like 70 something. Not cheap, but again, I mean, these days, what is? So I'm going to actually, I was sent a sample of this from our friend Daniel H. down there in Texas. If I can find it, I'm going to actually bust out this Glenturret sample to do alongside this and just see what we see. Y'all are going to have to give me just a hot second because I, of course, completely forgot about this. Those are all Quig samples from the last stream. Jesus. let me take a quick look and see if I can find this, because I think this could be instructive. Just like what we see compared to an independent bottling. Oh, Jesus, man. Samples everywhere. Samples. A good problem to have. Y'all are too generous. Let's see here. Daniel, do you remember, was it labeled as such, or was this one of the blinds? Always, Emily. It's great to see you. Daniel's in the house. He can maybe let us know. Otherwise, I might not be able to do it, because I could spend a bunch of time trying to go through all these damn samples here. No, that ain't it. Those are some from Telex from back in the day. Anyways, we'll wait and see if Daniel is still in the house. And would have been the 21s and labeled C. All right, hang on. Not BD, not. Oh, man. Just a C, man? What else would be on it? Oh, it's in the SMWS box. Okay, hang on. Thanks for your patience, y'all. Give me just one more minute here as I attempt on the fly to find this this other Glenturret. I'm probably not going to be able to find it, but let's see. Nah. All right, we're going to just move on. I'll have to try and find it some other time. Sorry, y'all. Because I don't know where the hell I would have put it. Wait, unless it's in here. No. It's around here somewhere, man. Sorry. I don't freaking know. But I'm gonna bust something else out here in a second to share with you all, since we got a nice crew in. This is going to be a little bit impromptu, but I think I brought this up on a live stream not so long ago, that I came across a bottle that was seemingly going to be the best thing ever. And we'll see how it's aging. This is a Laphroaig, 18 years old, PX finished independent bottling from Darkness, 51.5%. So we're going to bust into this, and I think this is going to spark an interesting conversation, because I, of course, have had a couple of these, and I'll save my review of it for after the tasting. But I've got opinions on it. I'm not expecting them to change with this dram, and I definitely want to raise this question with y'all once we get into it. So let me just get myself organized here. Let's continue. All right. Anyway, so back to the Glenturret. Yeah, I will definitely look at. I will definitely look into finding that for another time. But anyways, has anybody else had any Glenturrets, independent or otherwise? I know our friend Greg over there in Paris has had a few back in the day. I'd be really curious to hear what folks have to say about this, because I can tell you, it's a little mild. It's a little, well, what's the word I want to use? Its complexity is a little bit covered up here, but I feel strongly that this is going to end up being one of my more favorite everyday sippers. It's a nice, relaxed whiskey, but it has some body and some complexity to it, and I think that's only going to show more with oxygen. So I'm feeling good about this. I don't know if there's any other Glenturrets from that core range, if anybody's had them, that you'd recommend. Like I said, I think that there's a triple wood. Let's see what actually they have here. So here's what their website says as for what their core range of whiskey is. Well, they have a 12. Yeah, 2020 was what they called their maiden release. They have a triple wood. They have a 10-year-old peat smoked. They have a 12, and then they have a 15. So there is a Glenturret 15, and they are all about how it's non-chill filtered and natural color, which I am a big fan of. Yeah, they have a 15, but they also have some super old ones. They have a 25 and a 30. There's only 204 bottles of their 25-year-old, and their 30-year-old, oh God, they have 750 bottles released of their 30-year-old. Anybody want to guess what the price of this is going for on Glenturret's website? This is going to be a tough one to swallow. But yeah, they do have a 30-year-old Glenturret as part of this 2020 release that they did. The low price of 1,600 pounds. So what is that going to be, like a little over $2,000? Rough. But this 12-year-old, this is a good one. Worth it. Keep your eyes open for this. Let me check back in on the chat before we jump into this next whiskey. I have better Glenturret I can send you, says Daniel. Great. I'm interested. Ardbeg over there in Detroit. Good price. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, they are the new distillery over there on Sky, giving Talisker some competition. Did you guys see Talisker rebranded their stuff again, or they repackaged it rather? Looks awful, in my opinion. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Nice. Yep, there are some old and indies. Most recent ones, the peated Glenturret's really good. Hey, Ethan from Philly. What's up, Philadelphia? How you doing, man? My stomping ground for 2 years. Where are you at in Philly, man? I lived in University City, West Philly, from 2019 to 2021. Many good shows streamed from there. How are things out there in the city of brotherly love? Jazz and real hip hop just scored the Balvenie 17 peated cask. Oh, nice. Is that the new one, the new week of peat, or is that an old one? That's a good price. I actually have the 17 week of peat over here, which is really, really good. I thought the 14 was awesome too. They also have a 19, but it's like $350 or something like that. Totally absurd. Okay, y'all. We're gonna chat here. Hey, Winston, stop eating that. I got to put these boxes back because, of course, the second you put anything on the ground, this dude is like all over it. Okay, so here's what I got here. Look out. This is the Darkness. This is a 0.5 ml bottle, 500 ml bottle. Laphroaig, 18 years old. It is bottled at 51.5%, and it is finished in octave sherry casks. So if you think about like Laphroaig quarter cask, get a cask twice as small that held PX, and that's what you got with this. So you have a pretty rapid maturation of PX, and it can definitely show in the color. Okay. Who here has ever had the Laphroaig 18? If you have, you definitely know how fantastic of a whiskey that is. This one, as I mentioned, PX, this is what it looks like. On the nose. Yes, you get some peat. It's meaty, like savory steak type, that barbecue almost. And then it is just loads of PX sherry. Peat is muted. It's not very smoky. It's more peaty than smoky. It's got a bit of that medicinal note. But really, you're just getting a mouthful of PX, or a nose full of PX, I should say. If you poured this blind, I wouldn't be able to tell you it was a Laphroaig probably right off the bat. Here we go. Man. Okay. So here's what's good about this whiskey. It's rich. You can tell that it's definitely an older whiskey. It doesn't have any sharp edges to it. It's very well matured. And you get a really nice long finish. Here's the problem with this whiskey. This whiskey is so overly PX'd in this finish that the complexity and honestly intrigue that an 18-year-old Laphroaig should bring you is completely covered over. I should have known better. But what are you going to do? When you see a Laphroaig 18-year-old, you buy it. And this is not the first time this has happened to me, and it's usually PX, but it happens with Oloroso too, that these finishes are just so overwhelming of the spirit. I've drank about 3 or 4 drams of this. It has not gotten better. And I think at the price of something over $200, this has been a disappointment. I would rather drink, I think, almost any other Laphroaig than this. Because really all you're getting here is a syrupy, cloying, PX-driven, berry-filled fruit juice with a bit of medicinal peat in the back and a kind of meatiness to it. That is it. I was really excited about this whiskey, and I'm disappointed by it, and I should have known that this was going to happen. But this is not limited to this. There are other, I think, and this is something I find more particularly with PX. It is sometimes said that, like, whiskey finishes are a way to cover up not great whiskey. Is that the case here with this Laphroaig 18? I don't know. Darkness does this with all of their whiskeys. They're all octave cask finished. They're not all PX, but they're all octave cask finishes. That's like their thing. And that could be done well. But really, like, you're drinking with this, I think you're drinking a high octane, high alcohol Pedro Jimenez fortified glass of sherry. That's what it tastes like. I don't have much interest in this at all, really. It's really unfortunate. I've been hoping beyond hope that this is going to open up more and just bring some type of so much, bring something to the surface that resembles some of the kind of nuance and complexity that you find in what I think was the outstanding, now discontinued Laphroaig 18. The nose is great. It's a nice nose. You can tell it's too much sherry, but it's a nice nose. But let me tell you, one of the more disappointing whiskeys that I've purchased in quite some time. And again, I didn't do it with full confidence. I did it because it was a Laphroaig 18 and it was like a knee-jerk thing. Like, what are you going to do? You're not going to buy Laphroaig 18? I was like, oh, the PX can't be too much. I mean, it smells like freaking prune juice. I have another whiskey here. Okay. I may be being a little bit dramatic. It's not the worst whiskey in the world, but it's certainly not great. And it's not something I really want more than one glass of. I have another whiskey right here. A Carnmore Craigellachie 16-year-old. 12-year-old. Matured in a PX sherry butt. And I can tell you right now that I have almost the exact same experience with this as I do with this Laphroaig. Color, very similar. And I'm not trying to just like pick on PX because again, there's differences here. This is not a finish. This is a full PX maturation, and it's a sherry butt, so it's a big barrel. Not an octave cask that's going to give you this hyper fast kind of influence of the finish. This is a much more, dare I say, balanced approach, but it's still the same result. And that result is it's just PX. It just tastes like you don't get any character of the malt. especially with a malt like Craigellachie, right? Craigellachie is one of these distilleries that I would argue is like, has a distinct character, right? Bruichladdich has a very distinct character that you notice. Anach to some degree. Macallan, right? Like, when you're drinking these, if Highland Park, right? When you've been drinking Scotch for a while, when you've been poured a glass, when you've been poured a Craigellachie. It is a feisty kind of mineral, very malt-driven, old-school kind of flavor profile of a whiskey. So, of course, my thought is, well, I mean, it's a PX sherry, but it's 12 years. I mean, this is going to be fantastic, right? I have to drink one of these. I have to drink one of these down so I can put this in. So I guess my question, or where it's coming to, is like, look, when I buy a cask strength sherry bomb, I know what I'm buying. I'm buying it for the sherry bomb, and I'm not disappointed when that's all I get. But like, when you buy a whiskey that has character, right? This isn't a Dalmore. This isn't a, Glenmorangie to some degree, or like a, I don't want to get into this too much, but you know what I mean? Like, there's some distilleries that are just kind of like, you don't really know what their malt. Glenallachie is a great example. Like, do you know what Glenallachie's character actually tastes like? I don't. You expect it to just be kind of sherry influence, right? You're buying it for the sherry. They're usually nice casks. It works well. But Craigellachie, I mean, so here it is again. Carnmore, Craigellachie. This is 2010 vintage, 12 years old. This is bottled at 47.5%, fully matured in PX sherry butt. There's the color. And I'm going to revisit this again. Here we go. I'll tell you right now, the nose of this is almost as identical to this Laphroaig 18. There's really just not that much difference. Winston, what do you think? Craigellachie? Yeah, right, exactly. If I wanted a cherry cough drop, I would just buy one. Again, nondescript. You're getting just a little bit of that kind of cereal grain barley fruity or barley note. But really, PX. Very minimal difference between that and Laphroaig. The Laphroaig is more cloying. So I guess my question to y'all is like, now I know we're picking on PX here. I can definitely name some whiskeys that I think are great with PX. I'm thinking of a fully sherried one, Glenturret 15 Revival. The annual release of Laphroaig Distillers Edition, which is finished in PX. You know what? It's not finished in an octave cask. It's finished in, I think, just regular, like I think just a PX butt or a hogshead. Not for very long. And even that, in some vintages of it, can be a little bit overpowering, but it doesn't take away from the entire experience of the whiskey. It just gives you this sweet, fruity ending for the most part. Depends which vintage you have. I know some are better than others, but that's not the point. The point is that, like, generally speaking, that's how that whiskey presents itself. And they're doing it right. What these two whiskeys have done here is just totally wrong. And these are independent bottlings. I don't know necessarily. I mean, Carnmore, I've had some really nice ones from their Strictly Limited series. This is not one of them. And I'm telling you right now, this tastes maybe just a step less cloying and overdone as the Laphroaig 18. So let me ask you guys, I mean, do you actively seek whiskeys with this heavy of a sherry influence? Are you surprised when you get them? Are you disappointed when you get them? Or is this actually what you're looking for? As you can definitely tell, I've not been too pleased with these two. And quite frankly, I can't imagine that I'll pull the trigger on something like this again. And, you know, part of it is the mindset going into it, I think. And this is kind of going back to the last piece of it, which is if I'm going to buy a Glendronach 15 Revival, if I'm going to buy an Aberlour Aberlour, if I'm going to buy a whiskey that is a sherry bomb that is that markets itself as such and like leaves no ambiguity, I'm not, it may not be my favorite whiskey, but some of them are really good, you know, and that's what I'm buying it for. When I buy a Laphroaig in an octave cask with a 3-month octave cask finish, that's an 18-year-old Laphroaig, I'm buying it for like the subtlety of PX, or the, you know, what can PX add to this really nice malt? Not, I want PX to overwhelm an 18-year-old Laphroaig. This might as well be a Laphroaig Select for all I care. What difference does it make? Same with the Craigellachie. So, you know, are you cautious when you buy whiskeys that have finishes? I mean, you know, or do you look at them differently than you do when you're out to say, I want to buy some heavy sherry bombs? Like I guess that's the question. So maybe I'll do a video about when is sherry too much sherry or something. How can sherry ruin a whiskey? And I think the way that I would describe it is literally that, like, sherry should not overwhelm a whiskey. It should complement. It should complement, right? One of the things that Glenmorangie does quite well is that I have seldom had a whiskey from Glenmorangie that the finish overwhelmed it. And I think there are some examples of that going the opposite way with other distilleries. But anyways, so there we go. That's my quick little just rundown of when PX is too much PX. It's really sad to see a Laphroaig 18 fail on this. I mean, it was 51.5 too. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. If this is anything like Lagavulin Distillers Edition, this is going to be a great bottle. No, not too much. This Carnmore PX mature, just the Craigellachie, I'm drinking it down, obviously. But so that's that on those. If you're just joining, thanks for hanging out. What's up, y'all? We enjoyed an uncorking tasting of the Glenturret 12, a nice whiskey. 3.5 out of 5 on that one for me, with some upside. I think this is only going to get better. And then we've revisited some not so great, overly sherried finished whiskeys, and did a little ranting about that. So I am going to catch up on the chat. I know I've been kind of ranting for a second here, and I want to make sure I capture what folks have had to say here. Okay, here we go. We're going to start here. Laphroaig 18 standard was fantastic. Yes. Agreed. Glad I still have a bottle. Daniel H. Impressed with the lore. Lore is really great. Oh, Daniel was drinking this PX too. Yeah. No. Jazz. Unopened, waiting for a special occasion. You are going to enjoy that, sir. No matter if it's the green tube or the white tube or whatever, the Laphroaig 18, in my humble opinion, outside of the 10 cask strength, which is just my kind of perennial favorite of theirs, is the best overall whiskey I've had of theirs. It's the perfect intersection of the gateway into their more tropical fruit complexity you find in their older bottles. Still has a little bit of that pungent peatiness, smokiness you want from a Laphroaig. And to top it off, 48% ABV. Octave PX sherry normally would ring an alert bell, to be honest, but you never know. Sorry, didn't have. Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, they do not say octave on here. I found it out online. At least I don't think they do. Oh yeah, it does, really small in the back. Undertaken a final maturation in sherry octave cask. Yeah. I don't know. I should have read the fine print, but I still would have bought it. Fucking 18-year-old Laphroaig. Of course I'm going to buy it. That batch 15 cast strength is very nice. Yes, you are right. Great bottle. It doesn't say here. I think online it was like 3 months, but however long it's been too long. Coach, so many people look at that bottle and fawn over the color. I run directly away from those. My experience with motor oil dark malt whiskey is almost universally poor. Let me get a highlighter out for this quote, right, for this comment right here from our good friend Jason Coates. He's made a very good point there. I would add the nuance on that would be if I was buying an Aberlour or Abuna or an Allardyce, I would run towards it. But in the case of anything else that I'm not buying because I want a sherry bomb, I'm buying because I want a sherry influenced scotch. I think this is a truism that we should all follow. Case in point. He can't even finish the pour. I'm not surprised. Yeah. Yeah. Brad Porter. Only Coca-Cola dark whiskey is absolutely loved was the Edgedar Unchill Filters collection. I guess the secret on the blender's point of view, given that Laphroaig 18 is delicate and has some age, the finish if needed in the refill, but not a knock it. Yes, exactly. Absolutely right. Yeah, good point. Cablan is dark. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. One of the worst defenders I've had is Edgeador 10. Yeah. Glenallachie. Yeah. I have very little interest in Glenallachie, to be honest with you guys. Folks chatting at each other at Mount Muser. I do know what Glenallachie spirit. Oh, because I was talking about Glenallachie tastes like. I had a sample of the 12 right after Billy took over. Color of white wine, boring. Which is probably why it doesn't show up in any of their whiskeys. Except maybe that the first edition of that 12-year-old that I had of theirs was like, it showed a little something, but yeah. Current ones are too engineered for me. Yeah. I've had their 15, I've had the 12, I've had the cask strengths, the 10 cask strengths, which I'll be honest, I don't think I'm going to buy anymore. There are some really good ones, but it's just not really all that interesting to me. And the last one I had, batch 7, was pretty much a step in the wrong direction, I felt like. Yeah, good point. Very good point, Mr. Coates. Clenjon 5 is, yeah. Those are great. And again, those are unabashed sherry monsters, right? But they know what they're doing with it, and there's quality to be found in those whiskeys. Those are probably some of my 2 more favorite quote unquote sherry bombs. No doubt about it. No doubt about that. Moss 3, Kilburn 8, Sherry, and Edgeador 12. If you want, like, I don't remember the last time I had a sample of an 8 Kilkerran. I kind of like that. I mean, again, the youth of that, I think, really, in a way, made it show up with a bit more, had a bit more interesting stuff to it. Catnap G, what's up? How you doing? Great to see you, Solange. It has been a while. Yeah, Middle Ground Glenallachie balance is okay. I had 12 from that era too and enjoyed it. We both said we'd both just rather have Laphroaig 18 at this proof without the 3 months of PX. Yeah, and we could have got a bottle on secondary market of Laphroaig 18 for the price of this. I don't know. Look, you win some, you lose some, I guess. And it's all part of, the journey and learning to buy better, be a better customer. And look, I'll admit, when I saw this and it said Laphroaig 18 and it said like 202 euros, I was like, absolutely. Absolutely. There's not a chance in hell I'm not buying this. I wish I hadn't. Because I don't know what I'm going to do with this. Somebody's going to be getting samples of this at some point. Maybe a lot of you. Yeah, that is a very, very common note you get in a lot of bourbon, yeah. The only thing to remember is that heavy finishes is that they're highly dependent on the quality of the sherry itself. That is a very good point. Yeah. Can I see that bottle again? I might have the same one. The Glenturret? I'll just show you them all. Okay, so this is the Glenturret. This is a 2021. Good whiskey. This is the Darkness Laphroaig 18. Not so good at the whiskey. What was the other one we were doing? Oh, the Craigellachie Carnmore Strictly Limited PX. Yeah. In your opinion, do you think it's worth investing in the first crop of Laphroaig releases for collecting, reselling purposes later on while they're still available? I mean, if they're not too expensive, sure, take a flyer on one, buy one to drink and keep the other one. I can't imagine that you're going to see much value increase in those, mostly because I don't know that that's a collectible distillery, right? Like, if you save it for 20 years and it doubles in value, what are you really getting from it, right? $120 or something? I don't know. It's touch and go, right? Like, a lot of these things are in hindsight. My recommendation, I guess, would be buy two. Just buy two, drink one, and leave the other one for a while, and who knows. But I don't imagine that it's going to be the thing you can retire on. Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out how to sell someone with. Well, I mean, are you in the States? There's definitely ways to sell them. I just don't know that. That distillery. I don't know what the demand is. I mean, the other thing to look at with that, to be honest, is like how many of the bottles were released. I mean, if they did a release of like 70,000 of them, like, I don't know. I think if you're going to see that thing worth money, it's going to be in a long time from now. It's not going to gain in appreciation into 5 years because it was the single release. I mean, but again, I can't say it with confidence. It just seems to be that way, right? Like, it could be maybe that they put out a bottle in 3 years that is like the best thing ever, and suddenly everybody wants that. And then you see what's happened with Springbank, where like 3 years ago, 12 cask strengths were $120. Now you can't find them for less than $250. Maybe you see that happen, but that's Springbank, you know? I don't know. If the Asian market demands Laphroaig, then maybe you'll have people hunting for that elusive first bottle. But I it's the same thing with like Torvag and Ardbeg, and there's a couple other distilleries that just did their inaugural batches recently. In fact, I might actually have one. I don't know. I think more than likely it's going to take up space that's not worth the $50 you could probably make off it in 10 years. But I don't know. It's the best I can tell you. What do you think of Glenturret 21 Parliament? Yes, it's fantastic. Especially if you get one, I think this would have been the last year where they're like 27 years old. Honestly, they're all good. The Parliament's a fantastic whiskey. In fact, I don't think that there's a bad Glendronach in the core range. The 12 is very solid and presented in a really nice way. The 15 is great. The Allardyce is great, although a little different because it's full Oloroso. The rest are PX and Oloroso. And the Parliament is awesome, just crazy price, you know. Yeah, good stuff. Good special occasion whiskey. This is all your fault, Eric. Yeah. No. What do you want from me, brother? Look, if Dram Dude's still in the house, you may recall Dram Dude and I spending close to $500 each on a 28-year-old Muscat finished Deanston, which didn't turn well. In fact, maybe we should bust that out. I don't know if Dram Dude's still here, but I still have that. Oh, where is that thing now? Here it is. Why don't we revisit this $500 disappointment? Here we go. Maybe it's gotten good. I haven't drank this in quite some time. Yeah, it is more reasonable. Definitely. No, it is. It compared to the Laphroaig, yeah. Is this the same one? Well, so you might not have caught what I was saying, but like the problem that I had with this whiskey is that the sherry overpowers anything that could resemble the character of a Craigellachie. I don't buy a Craigellachie because I want a sherry bomb. And if I was going to buy a sherry bomb, I wouldn't buy a 12-year-old PX finished or PX sherry but Craigellachie, right? Like I don't want to be honest, I don't really want a full PX matured whiskey. I kind of want more of I'd go a Oloroso before a PX. Full maturation, that's a lot of PX. The issue with it is that it's bland. It is overly sherried to the point where it has no character. And it tastes kind of flat to boot. It's just not. It's not a whiskey. I mean, let me do a comparison. Just to compare it to this 12-year-old Glenturret, which is about the same price, much more character, much more interesting. This Craigellachie is just not doing it for me. And that is a distillery that when I buy something from them, Craigellachie is a distinct flavored whiskey. Like if you've been around Scotch for a while, as I'm sure you have, I know you have, you know what a Craigellachie is supposed to taste like. You're not taking a sip of this thinking you bought an Aberlour, right? You bought a Craigellachie. You know, you want it to have some of that, you know, metallic kind of foosty, industrial kind of earthiness, minerality. I don't taste any of that in this. This might as well be an Aberlour. So that's my issue with it. It's unfortunate, but you want to know something funny? I have this glass in front of me with the PX. I know this is a PX whiskey in it. I don't know if this was, I've been sipping it the last, I don't know if this is Craigellachie or Laphroaig. I keep picking it up and I drink it and I'm like, which one is this? I can't fucking tell. And that's all you really need to know, I guess. Take it from me. Canada. Okay. I don't know how much I can help you with secondary market access from Canada, but it exists. This is very good advice regarding Laphroaig. Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, that's just kind of what I mean, you know, like it's hard to, that whiskey's inexpensive enough. In fact, I might even have it. Did I buy that? Yeah. Oh no, this is the Lindoras. So this is another one, the Lindoras. Yeah. But I have the inaugural Lindoras. I have the inaugural Ardbeg back there, and I just don't think you're gonna make 700% back on those. Those are just waiting to get opened over there. I just opened the Laphroaig Sowing Editions Week. Nice young grassy pretty lowland profile. Sounds great. I've never had one. If you tried the Laphroaig 1810 Cherry Oak, yes, I have. It's good. Not great. Good. What was wrong with that Laphroaig 10 Cherry Oak? I don't know that there was anything wrong with it. There was something that was preventing it from being like, this is amazing. I remember that. And I was very excited about it because it's like finally a core range sherried Laphroaig, right? Like it's been, I think the only one that had sherry in it was the discontinued Triplewood and the Lore, but it's not like full sherry. A lot of these distilleries, you know, Ardbeg doesn't have a full sherry, but like Kilchoman does. Kilchoman's all about it. Another distillery that's not my jam, really, because I find that their whiskeys are too sherried. Maybe we should talk about a fully sherried whiskey done right outside of like Glendronach or I mean, some Macallans, obviously. There's some Springbanks, I think, that are full sherry that work for sure. Highland Park. Anyway, so yeah, the 10 sherry oak. Here's what I would say. I still think the 10 cask strength is the way to go with Laphroaig. It's consistently the best thing I ever get from them. Some of them I think are their ex-bourbon ex-sherry. I might be wrong. But those are just hard to beat. And so for the same price as the 10 sherry oak, I would just go for the 10 cask strength every time. It's good. I wasn't disappointed in it. I just didn't think it was like, it didn't quite, I think a little bit of the nuance was lost in it. And you're not really getting a ton of nuance with the 10-year-old Laphroaig anyways, but like it just, I don't remember. Maybe it felt a little soft. Like I still wanted it to be fully as punchy as a Laphroaig 10 or as a 10 cask strength even, but I think maybe it was just a little bit too soft. But I think I did it on a live stream. I mean, it was a 3.5 out of 5 whiskey. I think for me, it was, totally not something I would sneeze at. In fact, I think I have another bottle of it behind me on the Laphroaig wall. Yeah, I do. Yeah. Yep. Y'all know what's coming soon, though, right? June, and you know what happens in June here in the United States? Carchis, new Carchis Madeira and white port cask finish. Crossing my fingers on this one. I, of course, will get it. And I'll make sure that I do a live stream when I do. So if you're not subscribed, smash that subscription. Would love to have you staying in tune. I am dropping live streams periodically. I'm doing reviews periodically. Carchis week is, once the Carchises are out, believe me, I will have it. And I will try and get you a first impression review as soon as I can. I will say, I think when it comes to the Fischl releases, Laphroaig is usually probably the best and most consistent quality that I find, price considered. Although the 2020 was the port and red wine cask, which I thought was probably the worst Carchis that I have had. That was maybe the one that I wouldn't go for again. But I can tell you that the festival is ongoing. Laphroaig Day is, I think it's either happened now or it's just about to. People are getting the whiskey. It should be dropping the States usually in like late June. I will make sure to get it. I think that Laphroaig consistently does a great job with the Carchis releases. And while I'm a little suspect of this one, just because of my last experience with the double finished one, the reality is it's still going to be at a competitive price. And so unlike Ardbeg, I'll have one. So I'll be sure to share with you guys when I get it. If you haven't had the one from last year, Warehouse 1, buy that. It's awesome. The one before that was the PX cask strength. Also awesome. See, there's an example of a PX whiskey. Okay, so we're going to... I don't know if Dram Dude's still here, but if he's not, be sure to go check out his... Instagram page, Dram Dude. It's awesome. He's a great whiskey photographer. I'm not even going to let this sit for its 28 minutes. We're just going in. 1991 Deanston Muscat finish, 45% ABV. This is a 28-year-old Deanston. Both Dram Dude and I bought this. We did a live stream. If you look back in the archives, you can see us uncork this together. He is not normally a live stream dude, so to get him on a stream was pretty awesome. We're down to here. I think I scored this a 2.5. Below average. We'll see what's happened with it. Let me catch up on the chat, and then we'll check out the Deanston. All right. come back here. I think Ben Romick does sherry pretty well. Yeah, Ethan, you're absolutely right. My boy out in Philly, you know what's up. Ben Romick does nearly everything right, in my opinion. Always felt a little disjointed. Never came together as cohesive malt to me, says Daniel H. on the Laphroaig 10 sherry. Okay, very fair. There was something that just wasn't, it didn't have a wow factor, but it was, good. I just don't know if it's something I'm buying again. Like I want to buy another bottle of Laphroaig. Just opened a Ben Nevis from Signatory Refill Sherry, 8 years old, first Ben Nevis, and it's a big, big whiskey, really distinct. Yeah, distinct is the way to describe Ben Nevis for sure. Very distinct whiskey, very distinct. What do you think of the Ardbeg CS? I have only had a sample of one of them. It was great. Ardbeg's a distillery that's right up my wheelhouse. I really like their stuff, and they're one of those that I'm definitely keeping an eye on. So, have you had a chance to try it, Mosry? Not life-changing, but a well-executed lowlander. Yeah. And here's the thing about Ben Romick. The 15 and the 12 and their 21, reasonably priced, and real hitters for only 43% ABV. "100% agree. Last year or 2 years ago, Tamdu Batch 5 cask was my whiskey of the year. Awesome stuff. Yep, I still have a bottle of my last Laphroaig cask strength. This time, a Cult Red Stripe at 55.7. Ooh, which one is that? I only have 2 of those. I have the Batch 3 and the Batch 4, 5. Well, you must have a Batch 6 because I don't have that one. That's awesome, man. Or maybe it's a Batch 1 or 2. In that case, enjoy. You never get Carchus in France, huh? Oh, we must talk Shelter Point. Yes, I have had the Ripple Rock. Thanks to Foodquig, I have so many samples of Shelter Point. I have had the Ripple Rock. That was really, really, really good. What is it this year? White port. Yeah, white port and Madeira. I could see that working. Madeira's kind of sweet. You get maybe a little bit of a sharp tartness maybe from the white port. I don't know. I like white port as a finish because it's subtle. Jason Coates says, good to know. I'm not even sure if I could point to one that I've had. Pardon my questions. You know me. What about Redbreast 20? Drinking, collecting, and or investing bottle. It's hard to say for the drinking standpoint. I mean, it's amazing. I do actually have one up there open. The problem with this one again is just that it's an annual release right now. So I mean, you'd be waiting. Those are $500, $600 bottles right now, right? So you would probably to double your money on that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you flip one in 10 years to somebody on secondary market for $1,000. I don't know. It's just not rare enough, I don't think. Now, if they discontinue it, maybe. Drinking, definitely good. It's an amazing, amazing whiskey. If you're willing to pay the price for it, I would drink it before you sat on it, because they just keep making them, right? I mean, I just don't know that there's a rarity level with. I mean, I can go online and buy a Redbreast 27 anywhere right now, really. You know, will it be that way in 25 years? Maybe not. But again, I mean, I don't know what the demand's going to be, so it's really tough to say. Look, honestly, like, I'm not much of a collector in terms of like, or an investor rather. I mean, I do have some bottles of stuff that, you know, I'll drink later in life, and if they're worth money, maybe I'll sell. I have some Brooklotti Black Art 4.1s. I have a couple just rando here and there bottles, but like, you know, it's tough to predict what will be popular. I mean, look at the bourbon market. There are bourbons that we used to all drink that now you could make a small fortune on selling had you not drink them. Will it be the same with Scotch? I just don't know. Here's what I would say. Springbank, Macallan, obviously. If you want to get into investing and stuff and collecting for the purpose of selling them later, any limited edition Macallans, for better or worse, will probably be the safest thing, because Macallan is always the safest thing when it comes to being able to make money off of them later. People pay outrageous prices for Macallan. It is what it is. Springbank is becoming that way, although I would definitely encourage you to drink it, because Springbank's actually worth drinking. There are, old bottles here and there, but I don't know, man. Redbreast 27, if you had like a single cask from somewhere, maybe, but like old Ardbeg or something, like maybe, but it's tough to say, man. My general guess is that you're missing out on a much more wonderful whiskey experience than you are on the couple $100 you might make off of it selling it in 10 years. That's just my opinion, though. Yeah, that's going to be one of the things I open on a lot of my next live streams. I have a Glengarry 15 Renaissance over there that I'm burning a hole in my table. I love the 12. This is the color. Yeah, this is a muscat finish. 1991 Deanston. Non-chill filtered, natural color, 28%. Or I'm sorry, 45%, 28 years old. Really nice nose. Yeah, it's an unfortunate bottle. Especially because we paid like $500 for it. The problem with it is just that it's boring. Okay, there's a really nice ripe fruit note. There's some dry fruit. It's surprisingly punchy and active for 28 years old. Not excessively, but it doesn't smell like an older whiskey. Oak driven, citrus notes. Okay. See, this has actually gotten okay. Not $500 okay, but this is actually gotten pretty good. This is much richer than it was. It's apparently taken 1.5 years of oxidization. It's still a little bit too weirdly spiced, like edgy and punchy for what it is. Like, you get this real sharp hit as it goes into the finish. It just shouldn't be there, I feel like, for this whiskey. The finish is shorter than it should be. I'll tell you right now that that Laphroaig 18 PX monster has got a longer finish than this. It's not very interesting. Look, if I was going to review this now, because of the price, I'd maybe bump it to a 275. It's still below average for what you pay for it, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, this finish is watermelon, light fruits, not hanging around in any potent, thick, consistent way. It's just kind of like the accent, the afterglow of what you just had. It's not all that interesting. There's not much depth and complexity to this in a way that I feel like justifies the price and the age, for that matter. Yeah. This is one of the oldest whiskeys I own, too. I think the oldest that I have is that 37-year-old Bunnahabhain. That's probably the oldest, I think. Yeah. One of these days we'll check that out. But this is not... This is another one of these whiskeys where, like, the nose, very similar to what we were experiencing before with the Laphroaig. The nose is great, and it's just kind of like, slow decline. Yeah, this missed the mark. It's a bummer. I'm not hating you for anything. I do not like Ardbeg anymore. I loved the first 10. The second sucked. Could handle Oogie. Yeah, I mean, I think Ardbeg 10 is remarkably consistent. Probably my favorite. Yeah, what do you want to call it? Everyday entry level Isla. I still think it's probably the one that reigns supreme for me. Price considered. Ugadal's great. Corey Vrecken is really good. I think their core range, those three could go up against any of them on Isla in terms of best core range. The problem with Ardbeg for me is just that, like, it's all their other releases that are just, the prices are just too crazy. And I've found, especially with those Ardbeg Day releases, they just don't deliver. I avoided the ones last year. I've avoided the ones this year. I think I'm done with those. It's too bad. I mean, I'm not one of these people that hates on them the way I feel like. And they're an easy target because they're kind of gimmicky and all of this. And I think the thing about them, the problem with the gimmickiness, I'm fine with gimmickiness if it accompanies good whiskey. And I think for a while it did with them. Dark Cove, Kelpie, Grooves even. But the Drum, Scorch, the whatever the hell that one was last year, Ardcore. I mean, they raise the price $20 every year and give you less and less good whiskey. It's freaking, forget all that. So I'm out with those. I haven't bought one. I mean, I do have a decent amount of Ardbegs, and I have some funky special Ardbeg releases. I do have the Fermutation. I have the Rye cask one, and that's mostly just because I found them at decent prices, not because they're great. The Scorch Committee is the last one that I got. Yeah. I think with Ardbeg, it's like either just enjoy the 10 and the Oogie or spring for the Traigh Bhan, which is good, the 19-year-old, but they're overpriced. Yeah. I've not had the 18. But Tamdu is good. They have good whiskey, man. Good whiskey. Yeah, definitely. Yep, 100% agree with Coates on that. 100%. Brad Porter, hot take. I've never had a better younger whiskey than the Ardnamurchan CS 922. Sign me up. Ardnamurchan's great, man. That's going to be one of those distilleries that we're all going to nerd out about. Whiskey Jason is in the house. What is up? Solange, if you guys have not, go and shoot a sub over to him. He does great whiskey chat. We were chatting Glenturret 12, buddy, and now we are sipping a very underwhelming 1991 28-year-old Deanston 28 Muscat finish. What a bummer this whiskey was. Great to see you, man. Thanks for swinging in. Folks saying hi. Alpha Crown over there in Vancouver's in the house. What's up, man? He passed. Oh, maybe you did. I'll have to go hunt for that. Either way, if it's anywhere near as good as this 2021, again, this is a 3.5 whiskey for me. I'll have to check that out. Thank you, man. Oh, he's going in for that local barley. Very nice, man. Yeah, those Springbank local barleys, they're legit, man. They have that Brook Lottie farmhouse quality to them that is just killer stuff. Last investing question. I swear, what do you think of Bowmore 27 timeless 3,000 bottles made? I'll be honest, I don't know enough about Bowmore. I don't know. I'm sure some of those are older ones are collector stuff. Here's the thing. I don't know how old you are. Like, that matters. Like, I just don't think that there's any whiskey that you can buy on the regular right now that you're going to be able to sell in the next 15 to 20 years and make the kind of money that will, like, significantly change your quality of life. That's just my honest opinion. If you're spending a lot to invest in bottles that are worth a lot now, that will, that's a different story. But like something like a Bowmore 27, I can't speak to that. I'll be honest with you. I just won't speak. I don't know. But, you know, back to what we were talking about earlier, like the Redbreast 27 and stuff, like I just don't see the ability of like buying one of those at $500 now, and in 20 years you can sell it for $2,000 even. Let's say $2,000. $1,500 in 20 years. Is it, you know, money's money, but like, if you had something that was more rare, I guess, you know, like that's the thing. But again, and I do want to preface this with saying, like, I don't really invest in stuff, so it's hard. I do pay attention to it, but like, look at bourbon. I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe a Redbreast 27 flips for $25,000 in 20 years. I don't know. Seems unlikely to me, but we've seen crazier stuff with bourbon of late. So I don't know if that's apples and oranges or not. I guess what I'm saying is, I would buy things without, if you can buy it regularly or buy it relatively easy, buy it without expectation and consider drinking it. And do your research, you know, like that's the best I can tell you, buddy. I'm not maybe the best person for it, but that's just my like general gut instinct on it, is like most of these investment bottles are Macallans and like, you know, old shit from 25 years ago or 50 years ago. I just don't know if you're to make a quick buck. I mean, sure, you could buy a bottle if you can find it cheap and flip it and make $100, you know, yeah, but I don't know, sitting on that for 20 years, what's it going to be worth? So let me give you an example. So a couple of years ago, I mean, this was 5-6 years ago at least, I bought 3 bottles of Bruichladdich Black Art 4.1. I drank one. I have 2 left. I paid $350 a piece. Right now, they're going for $600. Is that trend going to continue 6 years? In another 6 years, are they going to be, you know, another $350 more? So now I've had these things in my house for, you know, 12 years, and I made $500 on each of them or whatever. 8, you know, $900. I don't know. That's the thing. I think your best bet, if you really want to invest in whiskey and buy things that are going to be, you know, you'll be able to flip with decent confidence in 10 years and make decent money off of, is just limited edition Macallans. I mean, I think that's honestly your best bet, but I don't know. Yeah, totally. And there it is. Yeah, Whiskey Jason. Check out his channel. He's great. Oh, he's enjoying it. Yeah. Buy crypto or buy, yeah. You might be better. I don't know your personal financial life. And so like, if you got a lot of money to throw around, yeah, buy whiskeys and store them and sell them in 30 years or whatever. But I just don't, outside of Macallan, which I know are just surefire, like your Macallan limited editions are about as consistent as you can when it comes to being able to flip them later. I don't know about Scotch. Besides older bottles, you know, older rare bottles. So if you got that Redbreast 27 on your shelf, I just open it. It's worth it. It's really, really good. Hell yeah, man. Truth. Of course, buddy. Yeah. I mean, so here, like, okay, let me give you an example. So, you know, Macallan's put up this Harmony collection, right? Bunch of, they hired some guy and it's like chocolate infused or whatever. And they get dropped on the shelf. They're like $129.99 here in Chicago. I bought 2 of them. Then they did another one with somebody else. I bought another 2 of those. I just threw them in a box. And like right now, you can flip them for $200, right? That was less than a year ago that I got those. In a couple of years, yeah, I'll probably sell them and make $300 off each, whatever. But that's just, those are one-offs, right? Like I walked in at the right time. I wasn't actively hunting it. And honestly, you know, most of these Macallans, that's all they're good for. Yeah, classic cut. I have one of those. Yeah. I wish I had 1,000 of them. But yeah, Macallan's. That's what they do. Anyways, so back to this Deanston. It's kind of shit. Great nose, pedestrian mouthfeel. Well, it's become more pedestrian as I've drank it, and the finish is not much. I mean, this was a $500 bottle. It's real disappointment. I can show you where to put it. I can show you where to get that money. Shoot me an email. I'm all top user. I can definitely show you where you can flip that bottle and make your money. People will flock to that. Yeah. I have one of them too. I'm sitting on it. I'm going to wait another 10 years and see if I can make a little more money on it. Because I can tell you right now, it ain't, once it's worth that much, it ain't worth opening. There's no way that a Macallan Classic Cut is worth $1,000, no matter how good it is, in my opinion. But yeah, there's definitely places. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be one of these people who's like, oh, you should only drink your whiskey. No, I get it. I mean, as long as you're somebody who does drink whiskey but also collects is one thing. These people that just buy it to sell it without drinking it are the ones that are annoying. And I know you're not that catnap. So, yeah, man. You know. Buy some Macallans. I'll tell you, want to hear a funny story real quick about Macallan? When I first got into whiskey, I lived in Washington, D.C. We really first got into Scotch. And I walked into this place. Oh, I can't remember the name of it now. It was a liquor store. And I walked in. They had an entire shelf. And I'm not even embellishing. They probably had 150 of the Macallan Edition 2, the orange box Macallan Edition 2s on the shelf, selling for $89.99 a piece. Okay. I was like, wow, that's a lot of Macallan. I bought one. No, I bought two. Because I'm going to drink one, see how it is. Those now are going for like $600. Like if I would have, you just bought like a couple cases of them and flipped those and went to Italy for a month, Shit. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Yeah, totally. I know, man. I got those stories, bro. Like I just said about that Macallan. I was like, man, I could have cleared that shelf of those Macallan Edition 2s. You know what else they had? I still got one open right here. This bad boy. They were selling these for $69.99 a piece. Bellamede single barrel cask strength age statement 10-year-olds. These right now in the bourbon, these would go for $350 a piece. I wish I never would have opened this. It's good whiskey, but shit. You know how it goes. At some point, when you know enough about whiskey, you can't deny it when you walk in and you see something is way underpriced and you don't want it, but you could make some money off of it and pay for the other bottle you're going to drink. Come on, we all do it. And if you don't, you should. No, don't buy a bunch. Buy. $120 is about the best price you can get. I don't know. Well, I don't know how much those will go up. I know the 2017. Yeah, maybe grab a few. Sit on them for 5 years, but I'm telling you, you might double the price. You might make $120 off each of those in 5 years. So is that worth it to you? Then do it if you can afford it. If not, then I wouldn't bother. I don't know if the 2022 is going to follow the same trend. The 2017 was the first release of the Classic Cut when they moved from cask strength to the Classic Cut, and there was a smaller amount of them. This is like the Macallan Edition 1 situation. I don't know. I can guarantee you people will buy them. I can guarantee you can make money. I don't know how much money you can make though. Totally. Yeah. I mean, is the box in bad shape? That's the thing. The people that buy these, they want them boxes looking good. Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you? $120 though, to be honest with you, Catnap is probably the cheapest I've seen it these days. I'd take a flyer on it. Grab 3, put 2 away, drink 1. Actually, don't even bother drinking it. It's not worth it. Just sit on all 3. It'll pay for another bottle in your future, if anything. All right. Let's. I'm going to keep going. I think I'm going to keep going. Should we have another drink? What do you guys think? It's been an hour and a half. I know it's been been a while. Maybe we should do another one. What should that be, though, is the question. I think I got another one in me, though. Especially after that BS Deanston. What a disappointing whiskey that was. I think we're going to move into the world of peat. Why don't we have something with some peat? Oh, I should mention another one, Catnap, to look at is Balvenie. Balvenies are not as much as Macallan. Balvenie is one of those that'll have some potential value because they do a lot of limited releases. Yeah, I think it's time to do something with some peat. I don't know what. Should we do the Scorch? Let's check out the old. Let's do this one. Let's check out the Ardbeg Scorch committee release from 2021. Dunnage Warehouse 3's definitely real and not made up fire-breathing dragon. This whiskey has been matured in our most heavily charred ex-bourbon cast. Let's check it out. It's been a minute since I've had this, and it's just taking up space at this point. Actually, you know what? There's one other one we should do too. This will be the one we close the house with. Almost out too. Hypernova, the most peated Ardbeg of them all, allegedly. But we'll start with this Scorch. Yeah. I mean, that's fine. That's not a bad idea. Look. Scorch is okay. It's young, though. It just tastes like young Ardbeg. The thing about it, I do think that, like, generally, yeah, your best bet is Macallan's. Macallan, Balvenie, Lagavulin. Not even Lagavulin. Maybe Lagavulin, but Balvenie, Macallan. I'm trying to think now. Again, it's just kind of like older stuff then, right? You got to get into the older ones. But like if you're buying new stuff, those are probably 2 distilleries that I would, but Balvenie the most. Or I'm sorry, Macallan the most. Yeah. Never had an Ardmore. I'm going to actually be doing a Ben Nevis show. I have 5 Ben Nevises that have not been opened. I think I'm going to do a show where I open them all. This is long overdue, is doing this Ben Nevis show. I really got to do that. Oh, thanks. Thank you, man. Yeah, I mean, most of the stuff displayed back here is, yeah, I do have a couple other shelves worth in other places, but not as maybe interesting. Yeah, a lot of money. Nothing particularly like crazy rare. I mean, obviously, like the 2013 Carches, maybe. I have some old Laphroaig cast strength, some old 18s. There's some old Glendronnics here and there, some rare Ardbegs maybe, but yeah, so I got some old Springbanks too, but yeah, for the most part, it's just been slowly piecing things together over the years, and I honestly don't buy nearly as much as I used to. Yeah, it'll just be interesting to see. I'm slowly going through things and trying to enjoy them. Yeah, man. I agree. So I got a bunch of these, bro. I have a 21-year-old Ben Nevis, I got a bunch of like 5-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old types with different finishes. I feel like it would be a really fun show to do where we just like knock out a whole bunch of Ben Nevis. And just like trying with different finishes and stuff, because that is one funky whiskey. Yeah, for sure. We got to make sure we get him in on that. No, what's up, Cohen? Los Angeles. Oh, it's good to see you, man. Yeah. It was just that time, bro. It was that time, you know. Had to do it. So again, this Scorch committee release, you can tell it's young. It's got that kind of like not medicinal. What are the words you guys use to describe new make spirit? It's kind of like it almost has a little bit of like a stone concrete minerality to it. It's edgy, it's punchy, and then you can just taste it. It's got a finish on it, not a horrible finish, but it's got the finish, and like it's really what all you get off of this. Now this Hypernova, this one is even more raw than this, but it's at least just like overly peaty. This is the last one I bought, and I think it's I bought this for like $130. I saw at Binny's here in Chicago about a month ago now, the new Ardbeg Heavy Vapors Committee release for $170. And I was like, I'm not having it. No, I said no to it, and it's funny. They have that Ardbeg does the committee release, which is like the cask strength version or the closer to cask strength version. And then they do the limited releases, which is the same whiskey at 46%. There is still an entire row, and I have not seen one removed from it at the local liquor store by me of the Ardcore. And now there's a heavy vapors line right next to it for $139.99. Not one has been taken out. So maybe people are finally like, the hell with this. I don't know. Flinty, yeah. Beery. Yes, that's really well put, Coates. Soapy is a good way to put it. Yeah. Yeah. No surprise there. I'm glad I didn't buy it. I wish I wouldn't have bought this. Look, the only Ardbegs that I've ever really been impressed with are the Corey Vrecken, the 10, the Ugadal, and the Traigh Bhan. The 19-year-old Traigh Bhan, especially this new one, the Batch 4, that's an awesome whiskey. I have a 21 up there I've not opened. The Dark Cove, too. The Dark Cove is good. But that's it. I love Ardbeg. Absolutely love Ardbeg. I just won't buy most of their whiskey. What are you going to do? It is what it is. This is what they make. They keep putting this shit out. People keep buying it. The price keeps going up. I mean, this is probably 6-7-year-old Ardbeg with a fancy finish. It's not bad, but it's not $170 or $130 good. And I guarantee you, whatever that one is that they put out this year is not worth $170. It's just real. And this is the world we live in, y'all. I mean, like, look, this is why this Glenturret, which we started the night with, was so intriguing to me. I was like it was like $65, 12 years old, 46%, non-chill filter, natural color. I was like, okay, they're speaking truth here. This looks like a whiskey, and it's above average. It showed up. 3.5 on that. I'm more interested in that. I mean, I'm looking at these more than these kind of heavily marketed. I mean, one of my favorite distilleries of all time, Highland Park. I mean, they're another one of these distilleries that, look, I want more people to enjoy Scotch. We all do probably, but that comes with a cost, and that cost is pedestrian, often NAS whiskeys, multiple gimmicky releases, and Highland Park is even more guilty of that than Ardbeg. It's too bad, because in my humble opinion, when it comes to just the house style, Highland Park's probably my favorite Scotch whiskey you can get. Just the house style, just their, like, if you were going to pull the essence of every Scotch whiskey and present it as a flavor, right? For me, Highland Park is probably my overall favorite. But it's not the whiskey that I have the most of, nor is it the whiskey I drink the most of. And that's in part because, so many of their stuff, I don't know what to buy from them. They put out so many whiskeys, and they're all just like, Val Father, Val Kilmer, Wings of the Eagle, Balls of the Wolf, whatever. Like, there's this, like, I don't know what all this shit is. Just give me a goddamn 18 that's decent, This is what it is. But they make good whiskey in certain ways, and that can't be taken away. I just don't, it's we don't got to get all into it, but it just seems to be the world we live in. Gotta make it goofy. Gotta make it splashy for people to buy it. And us folks who, have been around the block a little bit, know a little bit more through failure, just like a lot of the new folks have too. There's a lot of these people buying these Highland Parks right now that, we would have been buying if we were just getting into Scotch, You don't know until you know, and they capitalize off that shit. And hopefully shows like this and people who do a lot more content are helping folks have a better understanding of these things, because, we've all bought bottles that we felt like we got ripped off on. We've all had those bad bottles, right? We've talked about a few tonight. It's part of the journey. Wasting money. Wasting money for the journey. And I think the one thing you learn is you just learn how to fail better, right? Right? You learn how to fail better. You learn how to fail better. You ain't gonna catch me buying no Arcor. But I got other ones I can waste my money on. Now I just fail on PX Octave casts. I don't fail on gimmicky labels. Oh shit. Scotch sucks. Why am I even drinking this? Let's move on. We're moving on to the Hypernova. Not as good as any of the Supernovas, I should mention. But it is the most peatiest Ardbeg in the history of Ardbeg forever. 200 million bazillion parts per million. What did they say it was? 207, something like that? This is some raw Ardbeg, y'all. If you've ever had this, this is some raw Ardbeg. Look at the color of that. This is as new make as it comes. What was Code saying? Soapy was one of the ways. I can see that. This is as raw as it gets with Ardbeg. But my God, is this whiskey punch. Monster. Let me catch up on the chat here. Yeah. I have an independent bottled McCallop's Choice, is it called? Where is that thing? 1991 single cask 10-year-old Ardbeg. Now we really should get into one of these times. I think that's the only independent Ardbeg I have. The rest are all from Ardbeg. Gary, San Francisco. Yeah, the Traigh Bhan is awesome. Do you know which batch you have? I have the batch 2 and the batch 4. The batch 4 is open. And maybe we'll just swan song with that. Yeah, maybe we'll close it out with that. Maybe I'll join you with that one. That is a killer whiskey, man. One of my favorite 20-plus-year-old core ranges is still the Enoch 24. Yeah, that was one of my whiskeys of the year. Still, you can get it for $200. Apparently, my influence is so mild that the whiskey industry did not raise the price by $100 on that when I made it whiskey of the year. Consider yourselves lucky. If you don't have the Enoch 24, buy it immediately. Remedy Liquor has it for $212 right now. You will not be disappointed. D-Pass is back. What's up, brother? How are you? It's probably getting late for our friend Gary over there. Or Greg, sorry. Now, man, I'll tell you, we don't get shelter point in the States. Like, the only shelter point, maybe some people do. If anybody's here from, like, Washington, Oregon, Northern California, I don't see them ever in Chicago. Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, Squish is garbage. It's not that bad. I agree. You're right. I'm just being a little crass about it. It's not that bad, but it's not $130 good. Like I said, I saw the Heavy Vapors committee release at Binny's for $170. I was like, get fucked. I am not buying this. I'm glad I didn't. Indeed, sir. You get a good rest. And folks, if you don't know, Whiskey Jason's got a great channel. Go check that out. Oh, thank you, sir. Yeah, it was about that time. Yeah, this is a lot. I'm going to switch gears here. This Hypernova is a little bit too much for me at the moment. I think what I'm going to do is we're going to do one more dram. And it's going to be an overpriced, but at least really good Ardbeg. Inspired by Gary's comment, which is the Ardbeg Traigh Bhan. Is it Traigh Bhan? Whatever. It's good. One of these days, this Scorch is going to be off the shelf. I got to drink that down. All right, let's see here. Here it is. Okay, so first of all, the bad news. Ardbeg Traigh Bhan is $300 for a 19-year-old Ardbeg. It's bottled at 46.2%. Kind of absurd. The good news is it's freaking awesome. That's the good news. It's not worth the money, unfortunately. I just threw out a little whiskey that was in this glass. Like, who's that bougie punk that did all those horrible videos on YouTube? The Dalmore guy. I hate that guy so much. If you ever wanted to not know how to drink whiskey, watch that punk. What was his name? With the bow tie, and he's always in some posh bougie place, and he's like, take the whiskey, throw it out. Yeah, I'm gonna go toss this $30 dram of Ardbeg Traigh Bhan on the ground so I can make sure the glass is clean. Anyways, enough about that. Hey, Whiskey Knows, what's up? Good to see you, sir. If you don't know Marty's channel, go check it out. Whiskey Knows is good. I am going to enjoy this, and it was great to see you, Greg. If you don't know Greg's channel, he is our good friend over there in Paris, France, one of the greatest cities in the world. Give that man a sub. Check out his content. He just did a really great ball Blair show, which I was really impressed with. Greg's always doing good stuff. He and I actually got to drink together when I was in France a few years ago. We had a really epic tasting. I think there's some pictures on Instagram. Take good care, friend. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I know. It is a thing. Oh. You know what I think a good side-by-side tasting would be the Laphroaig 18 versus Ardbeg Traigh Bhan. These are so overpriced. Richard Patterson. There's my boy in the desert. That's his name, yeah. That dude. Take it, throw it behind your shoulder. I mean, that's what you should probably do with the Dalmores he was drinking because they're all food coloring, but not this. You know what this is? This is a bouquet of tropical fruit mixed with that nice sooty creosote Ardbeg note, mixed with a nice kind of almost salinity. You can almost smell it. It's such a fantastic whiskey. I have had every batch but batch 3, at least a taste of it, and I can say that this batch 4 might be the best one. Again, these are stupidly overpriced, and it's hard to recommend buying it. But it is, Oloroso and bourbon. Oh, there's like a black licorice note in it. Divine. Perfect. Punchy, sooty, aggressive yet complex. There's depth, good mouthfeel, hangs on for a while, evolves. Smoky, minty, fresh. It's so good. I have not had the Ardbeg 25 because I'm not going to pay whatever those are, like $1,200. But I'll tell you, you can do a lot worse than this Traigh Bhan. This is a really, really powerhouse whiskey. I could nose this all day. And this is the thing about Ardbeg, despite all of the criticism, just criticism of Ardbeg and their marketing, and the guy from Glenmorgie does all their marketing, Dr. Bill. And you can complain about the prices, again, warranted, but I'll tell you, it's a damn crime that this whiskey has to be so expensive because it is just fantastic. It's not that rich, heavy, decadent Ardbeg that you would get like with an Ugadal or with a Dark Cove. And it's not that aggressive intensity that you would get with the Corey Vrecken. This is like the 10 blended with, like if you had a 10-year-old in that style and composition that was aged for 30 years, blended with the regular 10, put into one glass or one barrel and married together, that's what you get with this. It's a stunningly good whiskey. If you are in the market for one and you live in the United States, Potomac Wine and Spirits in Washington, D.C. will more than likely ship to you. They are selling them for $279.99 right now, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it. If you want a Traigh Bhan, that's the place to go get it. Lemon lime, soft smoke, slight barbecue, menthol, citrus. World-class stuff. And yeah, this is the batch 4, 46.2, non-chill filtered, which is what you want. Ardbeg don't play with that. Oh, wow, they have some funky notes on the back. Smoked currants? Who's ever had a smoked currant? That's good. That's good. But this is a great whiskey, y'all. I'm not going to lie. This is a great whiskey. Ardbeg Traigh Bhan, batch 4. If you're looking for a special bottle, and you like to slow sip a heavy Ardbeg, this is one to get. Oh, he got it. I have yet to see him in Chicago. Look, those barrel reserve releases from Glenmorangie were the Malaga cask one from 2 years ago was awesome. That was almost my whiskey of the year. The second one they did, and I can't even remember the finish because that was not a great one. What was the last one they did? Do you remember? But this one's got me excited. You know how I like Glenmorangie on the show. What was the name of that whiskey? The second barrel finish reserve release from Glenmorangie. The first one was Malaga cask. The second one was, and I did a review of it, and it was kind of like disappointing. Maybe one of y'all will remember. Cognac. That's right. Yeah, that one was kind of whatever. Let me put a little water on this. With older whiskeys, you don't want to drown it too much. Let's just do like 2 drops here. Wow, we hit the 2-hour mark. Wow. This is no longer a rush hour show. Anyways, I should give you a little preview of like what's coming up, right? I mean, because I don't do things on a schedule anymore. I'm going to have a couple reviews in June. 2 for sure, maybe 3. One of them is going to be the Middleton Barry Crockett Legacy Irish. I don't know which one that'll be. I don't know if that's going to be the next one or a little bit down the road, but that's coming. I'll have another Scotch release, whiskey review for sure. And I guarantee you at least 1 or 2 more live streams. I will try. I know today's was posted just kind of quickly, but I will try and get them up early as possible so folks know who want to join. I know that I'm not always good at that since I've adopted this new approach, but yeah, so content's going to keep coming. We're going to talk Barry Crockett. We're going to talk, what was the other one? I already had it in mind too because I've been sipping on it for a little while now, and I wanted to give it a full review. Damn. I don't remember. Oh, well. I'll let you know. Craig. Cheers, buddy. Good to see you. Maybe it'll be this Traigh Bhan. I mean, maybe this will be the one I review. I don't know. We shall see. Yeah, I mean, that Malaga cask, I bought 2. I remember buying another one. I don't know if you can still find those, but if you ever see that, buy it on site. That is such a good whiskey. All right, y'all. So just a reminder, yeah, that's what's coming up. I got content coming in June. I hope you all will stick around and hit that sub if you haven't. I will try and get these things posted as early in advance as I can. And we had a nice whiskey to start off the night, Glenturret 12, 3.5 out of 5. Keep an eye out for this one. If you nice like a nice kind of old school sherried whiskey that definitely has some upside. 46% non-chill natural, good stuff. We revisited some PX casks that totally overwhelmed and destroyed the whiskeys that they were maturing. And everything in between. It's been fun. But at this 2-hour mark, I should probably sign off and go get myself some food. It is dinner hour here in Chicago. So from the Windy City to wherever you are residing, I raise this glass to you. Sláinte mhath, good friends. I will see you soon with some more whiskey talk. Everybody stay safe, be well, and enjoy your spirits and good health.